The Pixel Buds 2a are Google's most budget-friendly true wireless earbuds at 129 quid, and yet they're stuffed so full of clever tech that even that Stephen Hawking fella would be like, ruddy heck, they're proper smart they are. If he was still alive, obviously. I couldn't think of any clever people who weren't dead. But are they actually worth that cash? Well, I've had these dinky ear pebbles lodged in my lug holes for about a week and a half now, so here's my full in-depth Pixel Buds 2a review. And for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do subscribe, ding that notifications bell. Cheers! Now, as usual, I rather like the design of Google's Pixel Buds 2a. The case itself is compact and smooth like a pebble, so you can slide it into a pocket, bag, whatever, with ease. And when you whip it open, the buds themselves are pretty tiny too. Just a simple plastic finish, but looks rather smart, almost seamless. The main body is glossy, but the surface that sticks out, which will mostly be touch, and especially as that's where the touch controls reside, is thankfully it's got a matte finish, so it doesn't get all grubby and greasy. And this here's the hazel color, pretty dark. It's more like a sort of dark grey really. But you can also grab them in the brighter iris tone if you fancy, which is basically a kind of purple. And Google generously slaps 4 different sizes of silicone ear tip inside the box with the Buds 2a, so they come with the medium ones stuck on there to begin with. You've also got extra small, small and large. And I gotta say, I would prefer proper ear hooks to help keep the Pixel Buds 2a lodged in your outer ear orifice rather than these sort of slight crags that you've actually got. Because even when you slip them in there with the recommended twist action, they never feel quite as secure as some rivals do. It's especially not helped by the fact that I couldn't quite manage to find a perfect fit for this right ear. The medium one was fine for the left. For the right one, I found it was just a little bit too loose, so I swapped to the large one. And this was certainly an improvement. The medium ones kept squirming their way out. And that was even after I went absolutely nuts with the hair trimmer in there. Let me tell you kiddies, turning 40, never fun. All the hair on your head buggers off, but the nasal and ear cavities more than make up for that. And as for the trouserial area, don't even get me started on that. You'll need a machete to tame that particular jungle. And thankfully, with this slightly wonky ear tip arrangement, I haven't had a bud pop out on me while I've been walking at pace, which does occasionally happen. And in fact, they just about feel secure enough that I'd be pretty confident doing a mosh test. And I found the Pixel Buds 2a were perfectly comfortable enough to wear for extended periods. I'm talking hours at a time. So if you do want to slap them in while you're working away in the office all day long, or you've got a particularly lengthy commute, well, no worries. And they're also IP54 dust, water and sweat resistant. Yum. Now, if you have yourself a non-googly smartphone, well, you want to download the Pixel Buds app to access all of the main features and settings. Otherwise, these will all appear in the Bluetooth settings menu if you do have a Pixel smartphone like the Pixel 10, Pixel 10 Pro Fold, etc., which I've all reviewed here on TechSpert incidentally. So for instance, you can check on the battery status of your left and right bud. If you've got a Pixel smartphone, you can also see how much life is remaining in the case itself, which is handy. It is a shame that's not featured in just the regular Pixel Buds app. You can also flick between noise cancellation and transparency modes, otherwise just sack them both off. And you can tweak and fiddle with the various settings. You've got Find My Earbuds. So let me just pluck the buds from my ear holes before I do this. It makes them emit a loud sound. Gets proper loud, so should have no trouble finding them then, as long as you haven't lost them outside, obviously. And I really like that hearing wellness feature as well, which can tell you just how loud your music or whatever is. Make sure you're not blasting your lugs to absolute bits with the latest metal masterpieces. And as with pretty much all modern earbuds, you can quickly flick between 2 different devices that you're simultaneously connected to. Handy if you're working on your laptop and then you get a call on your phone or something, you can quickly take that on the buds without having to mess around in the Bluetooth settings. And the touch controls are proper good here on the Pixel Buds 2a as well. So you can play or pause your music with a single tap. You can double tap in order to skip forward a track, triple tap in order to skip back a track. It's all pleasingly responsive, super intuitive as well, zero learning curve. Even the triple tap just seems to work every time. And sadly, you can't customize these touch controls at all. They're merely listed in the app, but you can personalize what a long press of the left and the right bud will do. Your choices are just 2, however, conjuring up the digital assistant on your smartphone, otherwise cycling between the different noise cancellation and transparency modes. And Google has axed the whole swiping the buds to change the volume vibe, which is fine by me because I was constantly accidentally tweaking the volume when I was slightly adjusting these buds anyway. An alternative to fumbling for your phone is basically just waking up the assistant either by long pressing a bud or using the wake up voice command and saying lower the volume by 25% or whatever, and that'll do the job. Speaking of which, yes, you've got full Gemini live support on these bad boys, which is, still one of the best digital assistants out there. And if you want to, these buds can also read out any messages that pop up on your smartphone so you don't miss anything important. When I say any messages, that's not true. It works with a small number of apps. Thankfully, the likes of WhatsApp are included in that. And the Pixel Buds 2a don't just offer regular active noise cancellation, it's ANC with Silent Seal 1.5. Ooh, sounds suitably swanky. Maybe just knock off the S. But the good news is, for a pair of True Wireless earbuds, that ANC is proper good. Happily muffles any traffic sounds, trains, all that kind of rumbly background nonsense. Even does an alright job of sort of muffling other people all around you, although, as always, vanquished by small children, who seems to cut through absolutely everything. And, if you're on the likes of the Bakerloo line, well, good luck trying to get it to reduce all that horrible screeching. Although it does at least take the edge off, so it's not utterly unbearable. So yeah, while I had these things stuffed in my head, it meant I could quite happily enjoy a podcast or an audiobook, even if I was knocking about in a busy high street without having to jack the volume all the way up to ear-piercing levels. Oh, and if you've got the Google Translate app downloaded and updated on your smartphone as well, you can also get real-time translations for a conversation right there in your lug holes. It does need to be quite a slow, casual conversation though. It doesn't really work if someone's jabbering on at you. Certainly doesn't work if, for instance, you slap on a bit of mad Japanese anime and expect all of that crazy shenanigans to be translated in real time. When it comes to the actual audio quality, well, that's clearly not been one of Google's main focuses. They're not catering for audiophiles here, that's for sure. There's still no support for LDAC, aptX, any of that shenanigans. It is AAC all of the way, but the 11mm drivers do a decent job of producing a fairly well balanced sound. If you dive back into the Pixel Buds app or the Bluetooth settings here on the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, you can go to the sound settings. Forgot to mention earlier, there is an ATIP seal check stuffed away in here, which is quite handy if you're not entirely sure if those tips are right for you. But then if you dive into the equalizer, it's quite a simple 5-stage EQ. You can fiddle around with the bass, the treble, etc. And you do have a small number of presets as well. So for instance, you can boost the vocals if you are listening to a bit of podcast or audiobook action. And you've got full spatial audio support if that's your bag. And thankfully noticed bugger all latency when I was just streaming a movie or a telly show in the likes of Netflix, Disney Plus, whatever, or indeed doing a good bit of gaming with the Pixel Buds 2a lodged in my lugs. And you've got dual mics built into each of the Pixel Buds 2a with a bit of wind protection mesh slapped on there as well. And Google has apparently enhanced the performance with AI noise cancelling smart arsery. So let's test that out. So right now I'm very loudly playing the harmonious sounds of a very busy Indian roads junction over a speaker that is positioned right by my head, complete with lots of angry horn honking, engine rumbles, all that good stuff. And as you can hear, my voice is still coming through nice and clearly, with all that background bollocks muffled right out. And what about the battery life? Well, Google is advertising, once again, around 7 hours of use of these bad boys from a full charge with active noise cancellation switched on. And I found that in my testing, certainly that was pretty much bang on that estimate. I got just over 7 hours, in fact, with noise cancellation switched on before they were fully drained. If you knock off that ANC, where you get just over 10 hours of use from a full charge, so that'll see you through, a full day in the office, unless you've got a really crap job, which is certainly better than a lot of rivals, especially at this sort of price point. And then of course, once you do need a recharge, just yank them out of your lug, slip them back into the lovely smooth pebbly case. And sadly, because the case itself is rather dinky as well, you'll only get about 2 full recharges of those buds before the case itself needs recharging as well. There's bugger all wireless charging support for the case. You will have to bung a USB cable in its bottom. And, it doesn't charge particularly quickly, but it is quite a small battery, so it doesn't take too long. Just make sure you plug it in good time before you have to bugger off outdoors. And the case itself is IPX4 splash resistant, so no worries if it gets a wee bit moist. And there you have it, my lovelies. That in a tasty wee nutshell is the fresh new Google Pixel Buds 2a. They can be yours for just 129 quid, and they're pretty solid for that price. Gotta say, some good features packed in there. Great touch controls, solid battery life as well, nice and dependable. But of course, you can get noise cancelling buds that sound as good, if not slightly better than this, for less cash. A recent example that I reviewed, for instance, the CMF buds. Definitely check those out if you're on a tight budget. Otherwise, the regular nothing earbuds, also bangers, and the likes of OnePlus, etc., also offer options around this price point. That's what this bald, knackered old northern get reckons anyway. It'd be great to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest tech. And have yourselves a really wonderful rest of the week. Cheers, everybody. Love you.